Most people walk through life barely being noticed. They show up, speak, contribute, but a day later, a week later, they've already faded from memory. They don't leave an impact. Not because they lack value, but because they never learned the skills that make a person truly unforgettable. Now I want you to ask yourself something. When was the last time someone made you stop and pay attention, not because they were loud or flashy, but because their presence felt different? Their words carried weight, their energy calmed the room, their character stood taller than their voice. You didn't just remember what they said, you remembered how they made you feel. What if you could become that person? Here's the truth that very few people understand. Being unforgettable isn't about trying to impress people. It's about mastering yourself. It's not about performing louder than the world. It's about living with such clarity, such calm, such depth that your presence speaks before you do. This is where the Stoics come in. The Stoics were not performers. They didn't believe in attention for its own sake. They believed in substance. They believed in training the mind and soul to live with virtue, reason, and purpose. They weren't trying to be unforgettable. But they became unforgettable because they lived differently. They listened with full attention. They responded with measured words. They acted without noise, but with power. They understood something we often forget. You don't need to chase admiration. You need to embody excellence. That's what this video is about. This is not a list of tricks or psychological hacks to manipulate how people see you. This is a journey inward. Because if you want to leave a lasting impression on others, you must first leave one on yourself. You must train the qualities that make people pause, the ones that earn respect without demand, that create trust without trying, that turn ordinary moments into something memorable. We're going to walk through 10 psychological skills, each one rooted in Stoic wisdom. Each one a reflection of character, discipline, and emotional intelligence. These skills aren't about pretending to be someone else. They're about becoming more fully yourself. The version of you that people remember, not for your words alone, but for the way you made them feel understood, seen, safe, challenged, inspired. Because being unforgettable isn't loud, it's quiet strength. It's rare presence, it's deep integrity. And in a world full of noise, the people who carry those things stand out like stars in a dark sky. So if you've ever felt like people overlook you, if you've ever wondered why your impact doesn't last, if you want to become the kind of person who enters a room and leaves a mark long after you've left, it starts here. It starts with the mind. It starts with training. And it starts with a single decision. I will live with such clarity, composure, and character that people remember me not for what I say, but for who I am. Let's begin. The first skill is radical presence. Most people don't realize how rare presence is. We live in a distracted world. People are in the same room, but 1,000 miles away, scrolling their phones, half listening, waiting for their turn to speak. That's why presence is powerful, because when you give someone your full attention, it stops them, it disarms them. It makes them feel seen in a way they're not used to. Marcus Aurelius wrote in his Meditations, "Give yourself fully to what is before you." He was an emperor, burdened with the responsibilities of an entire empire, and yet he reminded himself constantly to return to the moment, to be fully here. Because the mind that wanders is the mind that misses life, and if you miss the people in front of you, you miss your chance to connect, to lead, to leave a mark. Radical presence means listening without an agenda. It means looking someone in the eye and choosing not to rush. It means letting your awareness fill the space instead of your voice. Because here's what most people never learn. When you are fully present, people feel it. They don't just hear your words, they feel safe around you. They lean in, they open up. And that kind of space is unforgettable, but presence is not easy. It's a discipline. Your mind will want to wander. It will want to check out, plan ahead, retreat into worry or judgment. This is where Stoic practice comes in. The Stoics trained themselves to recognize when the mind was drifting, when it was reacting, when it was wasting attention on things outside of their control, and they brought it back again and again to what was real, what was here, what was now. You can train the same way. When you're in conversation, notice your urges to interrupt, to advise, to drift. Just notice them and let them pass. Return to the person in front of you. Ask yourself, what matters more than this moment? You'll find that nothing does. Presence is not about being loud. It's not about dominating the room. It's about being fully anchored in it. The Stoics believed that true power is silent, and presence is one of the most silent, powerful forces there is, because it demands nothing, but gives everything. Start with your next conversation. Put the phone down. Pause your thoughts. Look the other person in the eye. Listen like nothing else exists. That's radical presence. And it makes people remember you, not for what you say, but for how you made them feel when they said something. The second skill is controlled emotion. We live in a world that glorifies reaction. We're trained to respond fast, to speak quickly, to show our feelings as they come. But the Stoics saw emotion differently. They didn't reject emotion. They mastered it. They knew that when you're ruled by feelings, you lose the ability to lead yourself. But when you can feel deeply and respond wisely, you become someone people look up to. You become unforgettable. Epictetus said, "Any person capable of angering you becomes your master." Think about that. Every time someone gets under your skin, every time you let a comment ruin your mood or a mistake spiral into shame, you've handed over your power. And people remember how you respond in pressure far more than they remember how you act when things are easy. Controlled emotion doesn't mean you suppress how you feel. It means you don't become what you feel. You can be hurt without becoming cruel. You can be afraid without becoming paralyzed. You can be frustrated without becoming destructive. And the moment you do that, when you respond with intention rather than impulse, you separate yourself from the average. People remember calm in chaos. They remember the one person in the room who didn't panic when everyone else did. They remember the person who stayed grounded when others attacked. Because that kind of emotional control is rare. It signals strength. It tells people, this is someone I can trust. This is someone who doesn't just react to life, he directs it. To build this skill, practice pause. The Stoics were masters of the pause. When something stings, don't respond immediately. Breathe. Watch what your mind wants to do. Then ask, is this helpful? Is this necessary? Does this reflect who I want to be? That pause is your freedom. It's the gate between your emotion and your identity. Also, remember that control doesn't mean coldness. You can still care, you can still speak with heart, but you do it from clarity, not chaos. You do it from principle, not pain. The Stoics were deeply human. They loved. They suffered, but they didn't let those feelings own them. They chose their response. And that's what makes you unforgettable. Not being emotionless, but being emotionally sovereign. When people see that you're not easily shaken, that you hold yourself with poise even in the storm, they remember you. They trust you, they follow you, because strength like that is rare. And people don't forget rare. The third skill is listening to understand. Think about how rare that is. Most people don't listen. They wait to talk. They hear noise but don't absorb meaning. And even when they do listen, they often listen to judge, to fix, to compare, or to interrupt. But someone who truly listens, who gives their full attention not to respond but to understand, that person becomes unforgettable. Seneca once wrote that nature gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth, suggesting we should listen twice as much as we speak. That wasn't just a clever observation, it was a principle. Listening isn't passive. It's an active form of respect. When you give someone the space to speak without rushing them, without preparing your reply while they're still talking, you're saying, I see you. I hear you. You matter. That kind of presence leaves a deep impression. People open up more. They feel safe around you. They start to trust you because they don't feel judged, and that trust, that connection, that's what makes people remember you. But to truly listen, you have to put your ego aside. You have to be willing to be quiet. You have to be willing to not have the answer right away. Epictetus said, "It is impossible to learn that which one thinks one already knows." The moment you think you've figured someone out, the moment you assume you already understand, your listening stops. And with it, your ability to connect. The Stoics taught humility in conversation, not because they lacked confidence, but because they understood the power of learning. Every person you meet knows something you don't. Every voice carries a lesson. And when you start treating conversations as opportunities to learn, not to prove, you elevate the people around you. And when people feel elevated in your presence, they never forget you. Listening is a skill you build like any other. Next time you're in a conversation, catch yourself when your mind wanders. Gently bring it back. Instead of thinking of what to say next, ask yourself, what is this person really feeling? What are they not saying? What matters most to them right now? Ask better questions. Then sit with the silence. Let them speak. Let them feel heard. You don't have to fix them. You don't have to fill every gap. Just listen, fully, deeply, patiently. And when you do speak, speak to their heart, not just to their words. Speak from what you understood, not just what you heard. That's when conversations stop being transactional and become transformational. The fourth skill is honest expression. Now this one can feel uncomfortable because our society is built on subtle masks. We're taught to sugarcoat to avoid conflict, to say what people want to hear. But the Stoics believed in truth, not weaponized truth, not arrogant truth, but clear, reasoned, honest speech. The kind that uplifts, challenges, and respects both yourself and the other person. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Never value anything as profitable to yourself that forces you to break your word or to lose your self-respect. That includes your speech." Because when you speak with honesty, even when it's difficult, you build something rare, integrity, and people remember integrity. But honesty doesn't mean cruelty. It doesn't mean saying whatever you feel in the moment. It means aligning your words with your values. It means speaking what's real in a way that serves the situation, not your ego. The Stoics called this logos, rational speech that flows from inner clarity. When you express yourself honestly, you create freedom in your relationships. People don't have to guess what you mean. They don't have to question your motives. They know where you stand. And that kind of clarity builds respect, even if people don't always agree with you. The problem is, most people either suppress their truth or express it poorly. They hold it in until it bursts out as resentment or sarcasm, or they share it too soon without reflection and damage relationships. The Stoic way is different. It's about pausing, reflecting, asking, is what I'm about to say true? Is it necessary? Is it kind? Is it aligned with who I want to be? If the answer is yes, speak. Speak clearly. Speak with calm, speak with respect. That kind of voice carries. People remember those who speak the truth with grace. They remember those who challenge without condemning, those who correct without humiliating. Because it's so rare. You don't need to be the loudest voice in the room. You need to be the clearest, the most centered, the one who speaks when it matters and says what others are afraid to. That's the kind of person who becomes a reference point in others' minds. Not because they always had the right answer, but because they had the courage to speak with honesty and the wisdom to do it well. Honest expression isn't about opinion, it's about principle. And when your voice reflects your values, consistently, patiently, respectfully, it leaves a mark that people don't forget. Because deep down, everyone is looking for something real. Be the one who gives it to them. The fifth skill is commanding calm energy. This isn't about being quiet, it's about being grounded. Think about the people you're drawn to, the ones you feel good around. It's not always the most exciting person in the room. Often, it's the one who feels stable, present, secure in themselves, the one whose presence tells you, without a word, that everything's okay. That kind of calm energy is magnetic. The Stoics called this the inner citadel. It's the mental and emotional fortress you build inside yourself, a place no chaos can enter unless you allow it. Marcus Aurelius lived through war, betrayal, sickness, and the death of loved ones. And still, he carried a calm within him. Not because the world around him was peaceful, but because he had trained his mind not to be at the mercy of external events. When you enter a room and you are not reactive, not rushing, not anxious to prove anything, you become a stabilizing force. People feel safer around you. They sense strength that doesn't need to announce itself, and that kind of energy lingers. Long after you leave, people remember how you made them feel more at ease just by being still inside yourself. To develop calm energy, you have to start with your breath. The breath is always the first place chaos shows up. When you're tense, your breathing becomes shallow, so when you feel overwhelmed or triggered, come back to the breath, slow it down. Anchor it. Let your body remind your mind that there is no threat here. There is only this moment, and this moment is manageable. You also have to pay attention to your posture. Stand or sit with presence, not arrogance, just uprightness. Let your body reflect your mind. Still, unhurried. Intentional. This doesn't mean you speak slowly or act passive. It means everything you do flows from steadiness, not panic. People are watching you, whether you realize it or not. They notice how you carry yourself under pressure, how you respond to setbacks, how you treat others when no one's watching. Your calm becomes a signal. This is someone who has trained their inner world. This is someone I want to follow, to trust, to remember. And the beautiful thing is, you don't need any special background or talent to cultivate this. It's a daily practice. You train calm the same way you train a muscle. In discomfort, you pause. In conflict, you breathe. In uncertainty, you anchor. The world doesn't need more noise. It needs more people who can hold their center, who can respond with clarity instead of reaction. Be one of those people, and you won't have to try to be unforgettable. You just will be. The sixth skill is self-restraint and silence. In a culture where everyone is trying to be heard, silence is shocking. When someone chooses not to speak, not out of fear, but out of mastery, it draws attention. It makes people lean in, it shows strength, and the Stoics understood this better than anyone. Zeno of Citium, the founder of Stoicism, taught that we should say only what is essential and only when it improves upon silence. Think about how powerful that is. We waste so many words. We talk to fill space, to impress, to manage how others see us. But someone who doesn't rush to speak, someone who chooses their words with care, earns respect the moment they open their mouth. Self-restraint also means not reacting to every emotion, not jumping into every argument, not needing to prove a point or defend every opinion. The Stoics believed that reacting quickly was a form of weakness. True strength is measured by what you can resist, not by how much you can say, but by how much you can hold without needing to respond. And this applies not just to conversation, but to all areas of life. Self-restraint means not indulging every craving, not acting on every impulse, not allowing temporary emotions to lead permanent decisions. It's the ability to delay gratification, to wait, to choose the long game. People notice this. When you don't gossip, when you don't speak negatively, when you don't jump into emotional drama, you become different. You show that you live by a higher code. And whether they admit it or not, people admire that, they respect it, because it's rare. There's also power in keeping certain things to yourself. You don't have to share every thought, every success, every plan. Let your actions speak. Let your consistency speak. Let the quality of your presence do the talking. The Stoics didn't seek validation, they sought alignment. And the less you depend on external approval, the more magnetic your energy becomes. To practice this, try this simple habit. The next time you feel the urge to speak, pause. Ask, is this necessary? Is this useful? Is this coming from a place of peace or ego? If it passes the test, speak with clarity and purpose. If not, hold it. Let silence be your strength. In time, people will start to notice something different about you. You won't need to announce it. They'll feel it. You'll become the one who doesn't react, who doesn't chase, who doesn't shout, and that absence of noise becomes unforgettable. Because silence, when chosen, is not emptiness. It's presence, it's power, it's discipline in action. And the world will always remember the ones who mastered it. The seventh skill is being an emotional mirror. Every person you meet is carrying something invisible. Stress, insecurity, doubt. The way you make them feel in your presence can change their day, or even their life. The Stoics understood this. They believed that virtue isn't just practiced in solitude, it's revealed in how you relate to others. Being an emotional mirror means you reflect back people's highest self. You don't pander, you don't flatter. You hold up a clear and calm presence that helps them remember who they really are. When someone is anxious, you become still. When someone is angry, you stay neutral. When someone doubts themselves, you remind them of their capacity, not by praising them blindly, but by speaking to their strength. This takes effort. Most people reflect whatever energy they're given. If someone is short with you, you snap back. If someone's insecure, you pull away. But someone who's unforgettable doesn't just absorb the emotional weather, they become the climate. Marcus Aurelius often reminded himself that people would be rude, selfish, angry. He didn't use that as an excuse to mirror their behavior. He used it as a reminder to stay in control of his own. They are as they must be, he wrote. You respond with virtue. That's the Stoic way. Instead of reacting emotionally, you respond from principle. You hold space. You offer clarity. You let your calm invite others into a better state of being. One of the most powerful ways to do this is through non-verbal presence. You don't need to give speeches or fix people. Just being there, fully, without judgment, can be healing. A glance of compassion, a quiet nod, a moment of shared silence. These things linger. You also use your words carefully, not to impress, not to dominate, but to uplift. You affirm what's true and useful. You tell people the things they've forgotten about themselves, their courage, their resilience, their dignity. And because you're not saying it to gain anything, but simply to reflect truth, it hits differently. It stays with them. Being an emotional mirror requires that you've done your own inner work. If you're reactive, insecure, and seeking approval, you'll reflect confusion. But when you've trained your mind, when your inner world is steady, you become a mirror people trust. A presence they remember. Because you help them feel more like themselves in a world that's always trying to pull them in every direction. The eighth skill is consistent character. This one isn't flashy, it doesn't get headlines, but it builds something stronger than any first impression: trust. And trust, once earned, makes you unforgettable in the eyes of others, not for how exciting you are, but for how solid you are. The Stoics believed that character is the foundation of a good life, not charisma, not luck, character. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself that his job, day after day, was simply to be a good man. Not to win the approval of others, not to be praised, but to live in alignment with his values, even when it was hard, even when no one was watching. Consistent character means people know who you are, no matter the situation. You don't become someone different in different rooms. You don't shift with the wind of opinion. You're not friendly to someone's face and judgmental behind their back. You don't chase applause and abandon your principles to get it. And this steadiness is what makes you memorable. Because most people are inconsistent, they bend, they shift, they compromise. But someone who is anchored in their values, who shows up the same with the janitor as they do with the CEO, that person stands out. It also means owning your mistakes. Stoicism doesn't demand perfection, it demands sincerity. When you fail, you admit it. When you hurt someone, you apologize. When you realize you were wrong, you change. But you don't abandon your compass. You refine it. Consistent character also gives people permission to trust you. When they see that your actions match your words, they stop questioning your motives. They relax around you. They know you're not performing. And that sense of safety, of integrity, it leaves a mark. Think of someone you admire deeply. It's probably not because they're the most talented or the most charming. It's because they're dependable. You know where they stand. You know who they are. That's what makes people unforgettable, not just to friends and family, but to colleagues, communities, even strangers. To practice this, get clear on your core values. Ask yourself, what do I want to be known for? How do I want people to describe me when I'm not in the room? Then measure your actions against that vision every day. It won't always be easy. You'll be tempted to cut corners, to give in, to react emotionally. But when you stay true to your principles, especially when it's difficult, that's when your character is shaped. And over time, people will come to see you not just as someone they met, but someone they respect, remember, and rely on. Because charisma may win attention, but character wins hearts, and hearts remember. The ninth skill is service without expectation. In a world obsessed with recognition, this one might feel almost invisible, but it's exactly that invisibility that makes it unforgettable. Because when you help someone without making it about yourself, when you offer value without needing praise, you become rare. And rare is memorable. The Stoics taught that virtue is its own reward. Epictetus said, "Don't look for approval except for the consciousness of doing your best." That's a radical way to live. It means your generosity, your kindness, your effort, they're not for show. They're for the sake of the act itself. When you serve others without expectation, you create impact without creating debt. You relieve someone's burden without reminding them of it. You give your attention, your time, your energy, and then you let go. And people feel that they remember it, not because you told them to, but because the gesture stood out in a world where most kindness comes with a price. Service, in the Stoic sense, isn't about being passive or self-sacrificing. It's about contribution, about asking in every situation, what can I offer? What's needed here? How can I leave this person, this space, this moment better than I found it? Sometimes that's a physical act. Carrying the weight for someone who's tired, sharing knowledge without hoarding it, mentoring someone without expecting credit. Other times it's more subtle, letting someone speak without interrupting, supporting someone through silence instead of advice. Not taking offense when it's clear the other person is struggling with something deeper. The beauty of service without expectation is that it trains your ego to let go. You stop trying to manage perception. You stop needing to be seen as the good person. You just become one. And people sense the difference. They sense that you're not posturing, that your kindness is real, that your help isn't a currency, it's a gift. And here's what's ironic. The less recognition you need, the more deeply people remember you. Because real impact isn't loud, it's felt quietly. Deeply, it lingers, sometimes for years. Long after they've forgotten what you said, they remember what you gave and how freely you gave it. So practice this. Do one thing today for someone without telling anyone. Not even them. Watch how it feels. That's the muscle. That's the path to becoming unforgettable, not because you asked to be remembered, but because your character made its mark in silence. The 10th and final skill is emotional endurance. If you want to be unforgettable to others, you have to endure. Not just in the sense of survival, but in the sense of staying true to yourself in the face of pain, judgment, rejection, failure. Because life will test you, people will doubt you. Your plans will fall apart, and how you carry yourself in those moments will define how people remember you. The Stoics didn't believe in avoiding suffering. They believed in facing it with strength. In fact, they believed suffering was where character was revealed and refined. Seneca said, "Difficulties strengthen the mind as labor does the body." That wasn't just theory. It was the core of their lives. They didn't admire comfort, they admired endurance. Emotional endurance means you stay soft-hearted in a hard world. It means you continue to act with virtue even when no one is cheering. It means you speak truth when it costs you. You show up when you're tired. You forgive when it would be easier to resent. You keep going, not because it's easy, but because it's who you are. People notice that. They may not say it, but they see you weather storms without bitterness. They see you stand back up after setbacks. They see you carry your pain quietly, with grace, and that memory stays with them. Because strength under pressure is magnetic. It inspires. It makes people believe they can do the same. To build emotional endurance, you must stop resisting difficulty. Instead, see it as training. When you're rejected, you practice self-worth. When you're misunderstood, you practice inner clarity. When life delays you, you practice patience. Every challenge becomes a gym for your soul. You don't need to pretend to enjoy the hardship. But you do need to keep your eyes on the kind of person you're becoming through it. That's the Stoic path. Not escape, not denial, but becoming. And this is the mark of the truly unforgettable. They endure. Not perfectly, but consistently, quietly, with dignity. They walk forward when it hurts. They live their values when it's inconvenient. And they become a lighthouse for others in the storm, not because they never felt pain, but because they kept moving through it with heart and strength. That's what makes people remember you. Not that you were flawless, but that you were real, resilient, that you didn't just exist, you endured with meaning. And in a world that so often forgets the faces in the crowd, the person who endures with integrity is never forgotten. Let's take a breath. You've just walked through 10 skills, 10 disciplines that don't just make you stand out in a crowd, they shape the kind of person people can't help but remember. And now, at the end of this journey, it's time to bring it all together, not just as ideas, but as something you begin to live. Being unforgettable isn't about being extraordinary in the way the world usually defines it. It's not about being the loudest, the flashiest, the most praised. It's about leaving an impression that goes beyond surface. It's about being someone whose presence lingers, whose words echo, whose character carves a memory that doesn't fade. And that's what these 10 Stoic skills offer you. You become unforgettable when you're radically present. When people feel that you're actually with them, not distracted, not divided, not performing, but fully there. You become unforgettable when you control your emotions. When others lose their cool and you stay steady, not because you don't feel, but because you've trained yourself to rise above reactivity. You become unforgettable when you truly listen. When you give people the gift of being understood, when you let them speak and feel heard without judgment or interruption, you become unforgettable when you speak honestly. When your words carry truth, compassion, and courage. When people know they can trust what comes from your mouth because it's rooted in integrity. You become unforgettable when you radiate calm energy. When you carry a stillness that draws others toward peace. When your presence says, "You're safe here." You become unforgettable when you practice self-restraint and silence. When you hold your fire. When you let others feel the strength of your discipline without needing to show it. You become unforgettable when you reflect the best in others. When your presence becomes a mirror of their strength, not their weakness. When they feel more human around you, you become unforgettable when your character is consistent, when you are the same in public as you are in private. When you live what you say, and say only what you live. You become unforgettable when you serve without expectation, when you give not to be seen but because giving aligns with who you are. And you become unforgettable when you endure, when you face the storm with grace, when you hold your values even when no one applauds. When you suffer, yes, but you suffer well. This isn't about performance, this is about presence. This is about character. This is about doing the work in silence so that when you enter the room, people feel the depth you carry without you saying a word. So here's what I challenge you to do. Take these 10 skills. Don't try to master them all at once. Start with one. Choose the one that calls to you. Maybe it's presence, maybe it's endurance, maybe it's silence. Practice it for 1 week, not in theory, but in action. Every day, ask yourself, how can I live this skill today? How can I train it, test it, reflect on it? Then the next week, choose the next one. 10 weeks, 10 transformations, not external ones, but internal. And when you reach the end, you won't just be remembered, you'll be changed. You'll become the kind of person who lives from the inside out, whose self-respect is greater than public opinions, whose consistency is greater than charisma, whose strength is measured not by volume, but by virtue. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good person should be. Be one. Let that be your guide. Be the person who listens more than they speak, who acts more than they boast, who loves without needing applause, who endures without needing pity. Be the one people feel lucky to have known. Be the one whose character speaks long after the conversation ends. Because in the end, what makes you unforgettable is not what you do for show. It's who you are in silence, in pressure, in truth. That is the path. That is the challenge. That is the legacy. Now go live it. One moment, one conversation, one breath at a time. And watch what happens when you stop trying to be remembered and start becoming someone worth remembering.